1. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, women from where I'm from in the Philippines traditionally and on average have a darker skin complexion, and as a consequence, they see stuff on social media and just be inspired by other kinds of beauty and end up doing things like taking glutathione or taking whitening soaps. This is similar to like in the US, Americans or Europeans wanting to get a tan or wanting to have a darker skin complexion. All of these things can fucking coexist. People do these things not because they're not proud of themselves or they're like drinking the Kool-Aid or genuflecting to a superior race. It's that these things which are different actualize them, and that the definition of beauty is a social construct that evolves over time. Yes, sure, maybe before the patriarchy was stronger, but given my partner gave you the historical context of breaking past the glass ceiling, getting political and economic enfranchisement, exactly allow us to not just be more confident in our own skin, but be able to choose and ascertain what's good for us, wherein it can be a variety of different things, because we agree with what Opening Gov said, right? Women are not in a spectrum and that the movement can evolve, etc. So my question to them kind of becomes, if that is the case, then what exactly is so bad? These things can coexist. But if the response to like op is that it creates all of these bad toxicity, then the question I have is like, what is it, bro? You have to pick a frame, right? Is it that it's so plural and good and holistic and yay? Or is it that these things are bad? But here's where my partner shatters this and breaks opening deadlock. And closing government calls it a manufactured choice. We live in a visceral world, guys. To some extent, we're going to be influenced by all sorts of things because of social media, globalization, capitalism. But it's a matter of what we make out of it. And more importantly, in this debate, it's what the feminist movement should do given the interplay of all of these realities. Should they criticize women? Should they not? Before that, let's just take out CG from the round because to some extent they were uncomparative and don't operate with how the world works. Firstly, they talk about how women compare themselves and it's anti-poor and they pressure themselves into all sorts of things. I think just vibe check this. It sounds good in debate land, but in reality, it's not true, bro. Because again, if you ask any woman, an Asian, hey, why do you do these things? Why do you wear makeup? Will they be like, it's because the patriarchy tells me so? No, it's like, makes me feel good. It allows me to be able to function in my job. It helps me deal with some anxieties and insecurities. That in itself is not necessarily bad, and the existence of a standard is a legitimate choice to make that my partner mentioned. So, the point in which like the movement sees that, they shouldn't isolate and wreck that Asian girl for wanting to wear makeup in her job, or that American woman who wants to go to gym and be fit because of physiological benefit, like what I raised in my POI, like not getting a heart attack. These are completely valid. Secondly, they talked about how this is particularly hard because it forces them to particularly do self-care. And this was their attempt to like respond to opening up. But we think that all of these things are subjective to the particular person. Meaning for every woman who does self-care because she wants to do so, you have other women who are like, nah, I'm happy wearing a sweater and eating chips and just not wearing makeup. In fact, these standards evolved to even have stuff like no makeup look, no makeup at all these trends to really be comfortable in your own skin, which are the realities of all of these standards coexisting and happening. And we think that their question on being anti-poor, just take a look at all of the accessible options to be able to look good. You have so many cheaper and informative and accessible genetic kinds of makeup, the same way you have like genetic medicine. These things cost cents or a couple of rupees. It won't kill you. It's not like women go on social media and be like, oh my gosh, I gotta like change my organs or change how I look, have all of these particular things. That's not the case. But even if that were truly the case, then if women really believe that that's the chance to be able to make them beautiful or make them feel better, then by all means, you can do it because you're not doing it for anyone, you're doing it for yourself. It becomes an informed choice. CG, you have anything?
Yeah, this is a self-perpetuating competition that happens, which intensifies beauty standard. As if you don't counter this, these are likely to get more intensified and way more difficult for women to opt into them.
No, because you shouldn't criticize them because of what the rest of the debate agreed on, that it criticizes itself because of plurality. That's what we're saying, right? We're saying on CO that it's because of this plurality, it sort of checks and balances itself and leads to discourse, and as a consequence, the movement as a whole shouldn't like bitch and complain to people about it. Why do we win compared to our opening, right? Couple of things. Number one, our opening correctly says it evolves but doesn't say why or how. My partner uniquely explains how this is such. Absent the examples and individual impacts of our opening, this takes a more holistic approach. A, we gave you the historical context of how women have been oppressed and how since we've broken those glass ceilings, like being able to vote and actually have economic enfranchisement, it reframed it to be less an externality and more for you that exercise your choice and agency. B, even if the root of this is to men, it can coexist, meaning I'm doing this primarily to myself, no matter how much the men or the patriarchy want to spin it. And C, we think that the existence of the different strands and plurality of feminism, like what we see with radical feminists, lipstick feminists, moderate and conservative feminists, prove that these things can exist. The second thing why we take it over opening is because of the range of capacities, meaning the goal of the feminist movement is to be able to get more allies, also be able to retain the members you have, and more importantly, be able to sway those who are centrists or moderates to be able to gravitate towards what strand they want. It's unstrategic if they criticize women who are validly part of that ideology. Now, very quickly, what are some standing things from opening government? Why do we take it over them? We take it over them because opening government talks about like the dominance of Western standards and all of these things about like dieting, etc. But we think that even if these roots before were hinged towards men, the way these things actually do evolve can actually be centered for yourself. And the way that these social constructs, of which my partner identified beauty standards are, can be dictated and defined by society. And that's exactly why we see the proliferation and access of all of these different things appealing to all kinds of women. Therefore, for all of these reasons, we are very proud to stand on side opposition. Thank you.